It is Super 4 time, and the game that kicks off this phase of the tournament is the one that kicked off the main round of the Asia Cup. That is Sri Lanka against Afghanistan. Sri Lanka have to get back to business after the highs of beating Bangladesh against an Afghanistan team that brushed them aside and made light work of them on the opening day of the tournament. So, on Qatar Airways presents ESPNcricinfo T20 timeout. Farwayz Maharoof on the key points that Sri Lanka need to address, and Gaurav Sundaraman, senior data analyst, will tell us what the big discussion point is. Right. First question will be to Farwayz before I even get to GS. The memories of that, well, let's call it absolute thumping win by Afghanistan over Sri Lanka are still fresh. Farwayz, is there an intimidating factor? Can Sri Lanka put that game behind them?
Definitely, it will be an intimidating factor. This is where the Sri Lankans character will be tested. I think they got enough quality, enough experience in that team to overturn the tables, what they went through in the Dubai game. All in all, it's a new start, fresh game. It's all about starting well. Yes, Afghanistan going into this game firm favorites for me, but still, I think Sri Lanka has got what it takes to beat the mighty Afghans.
All right, fascinating that Farwayz points out that Afghanistan remain favourites here. Remember, this is the consequential round of the tournament. GS, numbers. What have you dug up? What are the patterns and trends? And what's the big question ahead of this Super 4 encounter?
Yeah, I think when we talk about Afghanistan, we always look at the spin contingent, right? All these years, it's Rashid Khan, Mohammad Nabi, Mujibur Rahman. We talk about them, even the guys who get picked up in the IPL, for example, it used to be Zahir Khan, Noor Ahmed. These are the guys who generally get picked up. But of late, I see a slightly different trend. Afghanistan pacers are doing extremely well. In fact, this particular year, since the last T20 World Cup, they have the best economy rate among all the key nations, right? Yes, there is a caveat there. They play against the weaker nations. They play Ireland a lot, and they play the other associate nations. They don't get to play enough T20I bilateral tours against the top nations. So that is why these tournaments are very, very important for Afghanistan. If you look at their economy rate, it's just 7.68, the pacers. And I think you have to give full credit to Afghanistan for developing that particular area, which was considered a weakness for them. With Farooqi, Naveen Haq, things have become extremely good for them. They have kind of delivered. They have good variety in the attack. Maybe the only role which they need is an out-and-out 140 plus quick. And I think that is just matter of time before they find that. Whereas in contrast, when you look at Sri Lanka, they've had their worst year as the fast bowling unit. Yes, you may argue right now they don't have the best fast bowlers, but when you look at the 1 year data, which includes the likes of Chamira and the others, they still go at about 9.06 runs and over, and they average 37. Afghanistan average 19. So that's a huge difference in terms of wicket taking ability also. And one last point, the dot ball percentage with Sri Lanka bowl is just 29. So that's very low, Ranak, in a T20 match. And Afghanistan give about 37%, which is among the highest. I would say the benchmark is 40%. That's what I usually look at from a bowling point of view. 9 is too less.
Okay, so that brings me to two questions I've got for Farwayz. Let's start with the Sri Lanka attack. We'll come to Afghanistan in a moment. Farwayz, they may have ended up on the right side of the result against Bangladesh, but we must acknowledge death bowling remains a question mark and a concern. Do they tinker with their squad? Do they have anybody who can solve those problems? Or is it about Dasun Shanaka bowling? Your thoughts on Sri Lanka's pace attack?
I think at the moment, what is best was in show yesterday's game. I think Matisha Patina is still raw to be the leading fast bowler. If Fernando can do that job, I think certainly he can. He has the experience playing in international cricket for a while. Dilshan Madhusanka is still raw again. He's someone that just wants to bowl quick. I don't think he has the plan B to go, and if he does even have it, he doesn't have the experience to execute it. So that's where I think he can be found wanted. But overall, I think I don't see much changes happening. But remember, we are playing in Sharjah. The pitches are slower. The spin bowlers will have a bigger say than the fast bowlers. So Sri Lanka might think of bringing in another spinner. Maybe up in Sharjah, getting Dasun Shanaka to bowl at least 2 overs or 4 overs. Yes, I did mention Dasun Shanaka has to take the responsibility of bowling in the crucial overs.
Yes, you mentioned it's a tactical game. You also rightly bring up this is Sharjah, where we've seen spin play a bigger part than pace. But Sri Lanka's top order will have memories of Fazal Haq, Farooqi and Naveen Haq dealing severe blows in that opening game, Farwayz. So what is the approach from Sri Lanka's top order this time? We've seen GS point out high dot ball percentage, But given the spinners are going to be a big threat, is the approach from the top order going to be let's take on Farooqi and Naveen-ul-Haq, even though it did not work in the opening game?
I think conditions will be different, Ronak. I mean, up in Dubai, there was some grass and there was some bounce. I don't think that is the possibility up in Sharjah. It will be slow, it will be low. I think that's where the openers have to make their own pace. And we saw in the Bangladesh game as well, Mohammad Naeem and Anamulok Joy was trying to come down the track even for the fast bowlers because there's lack of pace. So I think for Sri Lanka, as DS pointed out, it's all about rotation of the strike. I mean, when you do that, I mean, run a ball, every ball, put the pressure on the bowler. It's not easy, especially when you have a left-hand, right-hand combination. So Sri Lanka got to be smart. Rashid Khan, Mujibur Rahman, one of the best, two of the best bowlers in the world cricket at the moment. If Sri Lanka plays it smart, not giving them much wicket, the 8 overs, if they can plan out to play a runner ball, something close to 48 runs to 45 runs, not give much of wickets, maybe 1 wicket for both the bowlers. I think rest of the bowlers can be targeted. And a 150, 160 up in Sharjah will be a very good score batting first.